Hey everybody. Yesterday you had a lesson quiz, and that was actually the last lesson quiz, and we wrapped up chapter or unit 8. So today we're going to move on. We are moving on to unit number 9, which is going to be all about percents. So the rest of this week we have 3 lessons that we're going to do. I think you'll like them. They're pretty easy. Some of you may already know how to do the one for today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and do these notes so you can go ahead and get your IXLs done. So let's take a look. All right, 9.1 is on fractions, decimals, and percents. And our learning target is I can express a rational number using fractions, decimals, and percents. So the first thing I have here is my definition box of a percent. What a percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. So again, we're going to talk about ratios. Remember, a ratio is a comparison of two different numbers. Percents are really, really easy because it tells us what one of those numbers already needs to be. So since a percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100, one of my numbers is always going to be 100. You can take a look in my example. When I wrote this as a fraction, you will notice that my denominator is 100 because in my definition, I have to compare to 100. Now we should know that 75 hundredths as a fraction can be written as 75 hundredths as a decimal, or 0.75, and then 75 hundredths as a fraction and 75 hundredths as a decimal is the same as 75%. Now I want to point out here is the percent symbol right there. That is really, really important when we are talking about percents. If you have an answer as a percent and you forget that percent symbol, it should be marked wrong. That is an incorrect answer. The number 75 and the number 75% are totally different numbers, so please make sure that you are labeling your percent answers. Last but not least, our picture here. On my picture, I have a 10 by 10 grid. Well, 10 times 10 is 100, so there are 100 little boxes there. And I want to represent 75%. Well, remember, a percent is a number out of 100. So if I have 75%, that means I want to shade in 75 out of 100 of the little boxes. And that's actually going to be one of your IXLs that you're going to do today. It should only take you like 60 seconds to get that one done. It's a nice little warm-up. All right, let's move on to conversion. So when I'm converting fractions, decimals, and percents, I have this nice little graphic organizer here that is going to help me out. So I'm going to let you just take a look at those words right there, how to convert from a fraction to a decimal to a percent, and a percent to a fraction. You can use those to help you out. I really like this little organizer here on the right, this triangle. The one thing that you do need to notice are the arrows. So I'm going to make sure that I'm following my arrows. So I'm going to start in the bottom right-hand corner where the percent symbol is. If I follow my arrows up, it goes up to the F. The F stands for fraction. So if I want to take a percent and turn it into a fraction, I just take my number, my percent number, and I put 100 on the bottom. And I'm going to make sure that I simplify. Now I'm on the top of my triangle. The arrows are pointing to the D, which stands for decimal. So to convert from a fraction to a decimal, I'm just going to divide. And we should know how to do that from a few months ago. And then last but not least, when I'm in the bottom left-hand corner of my triangle, which is D for decimal, and I follow the arrows over to the percent symbol, I am multiplying by 100. So to turn a decimal into a percent, all I need to do is multiply by 100. Now I'm going to add one little extra one on here. It is nice to know that if you go backwards here on the bottom, if I go from percent to decimal, I could actually just divide by 100, since it's the opposite of multiplying by 100. So we have a couple examples to do together here. And I'm going to start on the top. So I'm going to complete this table, and I'm going to start wherever my number is that they give me. I'm going to work my way down. So my first one here, I have a fraction 5/24. So to turn that into a decimal, I'm just going to divide. So 5 divided by 24. It'll be really easy for you today and helpful for you if you have a calculator. So 5 divided by 24 is 0.208. I'm going to turn that 8, I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to round up. So I'm going to say 0.21. Okay? Now to change a decimal into a percent, I times by 100. So I have 21%. All right, my next little one here, I've got 48 hundredths as a decimal. I'm going to change this into a percent. So I'm going to times by 100. 0.48 times 100 is 48%. I'm going to take 48% and turn that into a fraction, which means I'm going to do 48 over 100. And I need to make sure that this is simplified, so I'm going to divide these both by 4. And 48 divided by 4 is 12. And 100 divided by 4 is 25. All right, last one here. I've got 63%, and if I go down, that makes me go up to a fraction. So I just do 63 over 100, and that cannot be simplified. And then I'm going to take my fraction, turn that into a decimal just by dividing. So 63 divided by 100 is 0.63. All right, I will not be doing number 2. You're more than welcome to do that one on your own if you would like. I believe that you have enough instruction now to be able to do these problems. All right, a couple more here. We'll do the first couple together, and then maybe do an ordering one. We'll see. I don't think that's on the IXL. Nope, it's just comparing. So we'll just do a couple. We'll just do a couple of these ones together, and then I'll let you on your way here. So here I'm going to compare fractions, decimals, and percents. So my first one, I've got 3/8 and I've got 37%. Really what you need to do is you just need to make sure that those both look the same. So I can turn them both into fractions, or I can turn them both into percents. I would prefer not to write it as a fraction, because then I might have to simplify, or if I'm comparing, then I need to come up with a common denominator. So it's probably easiest if we do percents and decimals. So since I already have 37% written out, I'm not going to worry about that one. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change 3/8 into a percent. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide. 3 divided by 8. And 3 divided by 8 is 0.375. And then I'm going to take my 0.375 and I'm going to times that by 100, because that's how I turn that into a decimal, or into a percent. And I get 37.5%. So I need to decide between these two numbers, which one is bigger, 37.5% or 37%. And just so happens to be that 37.5% is just a little bit bigger, very, very small amount bigger, which means that 3/8 is greater than 37%. All right, number two, I have a decimal and I have a percent. So I need to match these. So I either need to turn them both into decimals or turn them both into percents. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to pick percents. There's no wrong answer here, but I'm just going to keep 19% the same. And then I have 0.17, and I know to turn a decimal into a percent, I multiply by 100. And 0.17 times 100 is 17%. So if I'm comparing 17% with 19%, I know that 19% is bigger, which means that 17/100 is less than 19%. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to stop filling out the notes for today. You do have 3 IXLs to do. The first one's going to go really, really quick, and then the next 2, the L2 will go very fast as well, as long as you get I think it's like 10 of them right or 9 of them right or whatever. The score will shoot up really fast, so it's really not too much work to do today. As always, don't forget to hesitate to message me if you need any help, and I'll make sure that you get the information that you need. All right, bye guys.